In the decades following the Second World War, British pensioners faced a reality we've largely forgotten. State pensions barely covered rent and heating. Refrigerators were luxuries. Supermarkets hadn't yet replaced corner shops. Yet somehow, elderly men and women living alone in council flats and terraced houses managed to eat proper dinners every single night, spending less in a week than many now spend on a single takeaway coffee. They didn't rely on ready meals or delivery apps. They couldn't. Instead, they drew upon knowledge passed down through generations, knowledge that transformed a handful of cupboard staples into hot, nourishing meals in under 10 minutes. These weren't complicated recipes. They were survival techniques refined by necessity, dignity, and thrift. This wasn't poverty cooking. It was intelligent cooking. And it's vanished almost entirely from living memory, replaced by microwaves and meal deals that cost more and deliver less. What you're about to see isn't a cooking channel. It's a recovery operation. These 10 meals represent the backbone of post-war British pensioner cuisine, dishes that kept millions fed on impossibly tight budgets. Each takes 10 minutes or less. Each costs pennies. Each was designed for someone cooking alone, often with limited mobility, in a cold kitchen with one gas ring. If you value forgotten wisdom, if you believe frugality deserves respect rather than pity, subscribe to Britain Rewind now. This knowledge shouldn't die with a generation that lived it. Let's begin the countdown. Number 10. Bread and dripping with onion gravy. Dripping, that golden fat saved from the Sunday roast, sat in a bowl in every pensioner's larder. Spread thick on toasted bread, it delivered calories and flavor for almost nothing. But the real genius was the onion gravy, made by frying a single sliced onion in a teaspoon of dripping, adding water and a crumbled OXO cube, then thickening with a pinch of flour. Poured over the toast, it transformed simplicity into satisfaction. Total cost in 1955? Roughly threepence. Total time? 8 minutes. This wasn't student food. This was dignity on a plate, eaten by firelight in 1,000 cold parlors. Number 9. Poached egg on fried bread. Eggs remained affordable throughout the post-war decades, a reliable source of protein when meat was scarce or expensive. The technique was efficient: heat dripping or lard in a small pan, fry a thick slice of bread until golden and crisp, then push it to the side. Crack an egg into the same fat, spoon the hot dripping over the white until it sets, keeping the yolk soft. Slide both onto a plate. The fried bread soaks up the running yolk. The entire operation takes 6 minutes, uses one pan, and costs roughly the same as a box of matches. Warmth, protein, comfort. Number 8. Tin tomato soup with bread and butter. Heinz tomato soup wasn't a luxury. It was a staple, sold in corner shops for a shilling, often less. Pour it into a small saucepan, add half a tin of water, heat gently while buttering 2 thick slices of white bread. The soup doesn't need embellishment. Its sweetness and acidity were calibrated for British palates decades ago. This meal appears embarrassingly simple to modern eyes, yet it sustained millions. The cost per serving hovered around sixpence in the late 1950s. The preparation time? For minutes. It was eaten alone at kitchen tables covered in oilcloth, with the wireless murmuring in the background, filling both stomach and silence. Number 7. Corned beef hash. A single tin of corned beef could stretch across 3 meals if used intelligently. For hash, cube 1 cold boiled potato, chop half the tinned meat into small pieces, fry both in a shallow pan with a scrape of dripping until crispy at the edges. The starch from the potato binds with the salty beef fat, creating a texture impossible to replicate with fresh ingredients. Season with pepper, never salt. The meat carries enough. Total cost in 1960? 9pence, perhaps a shilling if potatoes were dear. Total time? 9 minutes. This was Monday dinner, Wednesday dinner, Friday dinner, endlessly reliable, endlessly plain, endlessly enough. Number 6. Welsh rarebit on toast. Cheese, when bought as a block rather than sliced, remained economical. The method: grate 2 ounces of strong cheddar, mix with a teaspoon of mustard powder, a splash of milk, and a small knob of butter. Melt this gently in a pan, stirring constantly, then pour over hot buttered toast and brown under the grill for 2 minutes. What emerges isn't a snack. It's a genuine meal, protein-rich and filling, costing roughly 8p per serving in the mid-1960s. The sharpness of the cheese, the heat, the crunch. 10 minutes, 1 pan, no waste. If this knowledge resonates, if you recognize these meals from your own childhood or from stories your grandparents told, leave a comment below. Tell us which dish you remember. Tell us what we've missed. This archive only survives if we build it together. Now, let's continue. Number 5. Spam fritters. Spam earned mockery it never deserved. Sliced thickly, dipped in a simple batter made from 4 tablespoons of flour, a pinch of salt, and enough water to coat, then fried in shallow fat for 3 minutes per side, it becomes something else entirely. The exterior crisps and puffs. The interior stays soft and salty. Served with a splash of vinegar or a spoonful of pickle, this was Saturday tea for countless pensioners living alone. A tin of spam cost 1 shilling and 3p in 1962, yielding 4 meals. The batter costs nothing. The satisfaction? Incalculable. 10 minutes, beginning to end. Number 4. Baked beans on buttered toast. Heinz baked beans were never just convenient. They were nutritionally complete, cheap, and required no refrigeration. Heat the beans gently in a small pan while toasting bread. Butter the toast thickly. Pour the beans over. The sweetness of the sauce, the softness of the haricot beans, the crunch of the toast. This combination appeared on pensioner tables 3 or 4 times weekly throughout the 1950s and 1960s. Cost per serving? 4p, perhaps 5p. Time required? 5 minutes. It wasn't lazy. It was strategic. Why waste energy on complexity when simplicity delivers everything necessary? Warmth, fiber, protein, comfort. This wisdom didn't disappear because it failed. It vanished because prosperity made it seem unnecessary. Refrigerators, supermarkets, and convenience foods promised liberation from thrift. But somewhere between then and now, we lost something vital. We forgot that speed and economy needn't mean sacrifice. We forgot that dignity exists in making do. And we forgot that cooking alone doesn't require elaborate recipes, just reliable ones. These meals weren't loved because pensioners had no choice. They were loved because they worked. Number 3. Scotch broth from a packet. Before fresh soup vanished into Tupperware and microwaves, packet soup ruled pensioner cupboards. Scotch broth, with its dehydrated barley, split peas, and vegetable flakes, needed only boiling water and 10 minutes of gentle simmering. The result was thick, filling, and genuinely sustaining. A packet cost 6p in 1958 and provided 2 generous bowls. Served with a hunk of bread and butter, it became a complete meal. The warmth mattered as much as the nutrition. In unheated flats where pensioners wore overcoats indoors, hot soup wasn't comfort food. It was survival food, eaten slowly, making the heat last. Number 2. Fish paste sandwich with tea. Shipham's fish paste, in its distinctive small jar, sat in every corner shop. Spread thinly on buttered white bread, it delivered protein and salt for almost nothing. The texture was smooth, faintly oily, undeniably fishy. Genteel society mocked it. Pensioners relied on it. A single jar, costing 5p, lasted a week if used sparingly. Paired with a pot of strong tea, this wasn't dinner in the traditional sense. But for someone eating alone at 6 o'clock on a November evening, with darkness pressing against the windows, it was enough. Preparation time? 3 minutes. Cost? Negligible. Dignity? Intact. Number 1. Bread and milk. This is where we end, not with the fanciest meal, but with the most honest. Break stale bread into a bowl. Pour over warm milk, sweetened with a teaspoon of sugar if affordable, left plain if not. Eat it slowly with a spoon. This was what pensioners ate when money ran out before pension day. When the gas meter needed feeding, when heating mattered more than eating, it costs almost nothing. It takes 2 minutes, and it kept people alive. There's no nostalgia here, no romance. Just the blunt reality of making do with less than anyone should have to. Yet even in this simplicity, there was care. The milk was warmed. The bowl was clean. Poverty didn't erase self-respect. It refined it. These 10 meals represent more than frugal cooking. They represent resourcefulness, resilience, and a refusal to let hardship erase dignity. They remind us that good food doesn't require elaborate ingredients or lengthy preparation. It requires knowledge, patience, and respect for what little you have. If this video moved you, if it taught you something, if it reminded you of someone you've lost, leave a comment. Share your memories. Tell us what your grandparents cooked. And subscribe to Britain Rewind, because this channel exists to preserve what modern Britain has forgotten. Some knowledge is too valuable to lose. Let's make sure this isn't.